By breaking an image down into the elements of shape, you can draw even more complex images than cartoon characters. The more realistic line drawings of animals or other things are more complex to draw because their shapes aren't as defined as the cartoon characters are. So once I figured out how much space is going to take up on this page, I know about where to draw his eyes. And each one of those eyes consists of two curved lines, one curving up and one curving down. And then from the eyes, we have a slanted line that comes out about even with the corner of the eye, and we have the same thing on the other side. It's not symmetrical though. It comes out even with the corner of the eye like that. The next good point of reference is that black nose of his, and so I'm going to draw that in there in relation to the eyes. It's over a little bit, and it's consisting of, well, basically three shapes that are all made up of curved lines mostly. And so if you see that I'm drawing it shape by shape, the curved line comes down in each direction, and then the two dots for the two nostrils. And after that, I'm going to darken in the eyes and the nose because it's going to look better than if I just leave it just a line drawing. So the next good point of reference, I believe, is the short line that goes vertically down from his nose. And so I'll put that in. And then from there, a curved line comes up, and it comes up about even with his nose. And then on the other side of his face, you have a curved line that's, the edge of it is even with the corner of his eye and with his nose. So I like to make little light marks to guide where I put lines. But when you see me do that, you can do that too, but remember, they have to be really light because you don't want them in your final drawing. And sometimes people tend to make their guidelines really dark and then they can't get rid of them. Okay, next. There's this little kind of curved line here between these two lines. And then I'm going to put his tongue in because that seems like a good point of reference as well. So I have to basically see where it comes in relation to the line that it's attached to. And it's two lines that come down and curve, and then a line in the middle of those two. And then from there, we have a little hairpin curve that comes down and comes back down to the tongue. And another little slanted line over here. And then we can complete his mouth with just a line that curves parallel to this other curved line and then just follows it almost parallel down to the tongue. All right, that's good. Now let's jump up onto the top of the head, and that's a curved line, and I want to just get the placement of it, you know, like where it is in relation to his eyes, how far above it, and you know, how far over to the sides it comes in relation to the eyes. And I made myself a couple of guide dots, and I drew that line in there. Next, another curved line that comes down, and it's about even a little bit below that black nose of his. And while I'm drawing it, I'm following that curve and trying to draw that as much like that curve as I can. And then another curved line that comes out, it attaches and it curves out, and then it comes down and attaches to the bottom of that line. Right, then we have another, actually it's not an angle line, it's a curved line because it's not really a sharp corner. And that's the other part of his ear. Now let's jump over here and start drawing this ear. And we'll start with that line on the inside and like follow the curve as I'm drawing it. Comes down alongside the eye, alongside the corner of the mouth, about even with the corner of the mouth, just a little bit below it. Another curved line that attaches up at the top and comes out and then comes together with that other line. Then we have a curved line that comes out, about up there. And attaches over here. Okay, now the next major line that relates directly to his head area is this like rough right here. So I put a guide dot to show me like how far to draw the lines for that. And I'm not going to draw like a heavy, like hairy line right now. I'm just going to draw a smooth line. I'll come back and add the fur later. But I just want to get the basic shape of that. Two curved lines that come down. And then I want to determine where to draw this other line to. So you see that really, really light guideline over there. You see where it ends. And I'm drawing my curved line over to that. That's his chest. All right, now here's another curved line that comes down, and again, I'll wait and add the furry looking lines later. Just make a smooth curve at the moment. And then I'll start with this front leg here. And I want to determine how far down to draw it in relation to his body. And so once I figure that out, I'm going to draw just a light guideline down there. And then I'm following the line of his leg, and it kind of slants in a little bit, not much. It curves out a little bit, and it comes down to that guideline I made. Okay, now I'd have to decide at what point to draw the other line that makes the back of his leg. And that line gets gradually closer to the other line, and then it bends out almost parallel with the other line. And little curved lines for his toes. All right, now, kind of when I draw this line here, I also look at how it comes down in relation to the other leg, the shape that it makes between them. It's called a negative shape. The shape between the two legs is a negative shape. And the shape of that helps actually to draw the correct shape for the leg. All right, now this comes up right about there. And so I'll start right there when I draw his other leg, the back of it, and that's his elbow right there actually. And as I draw this line down, it comes gradually closer to the other line, but it doesn't ever get to the point where it touches the other line. And then it curves down and around for the bottom of his foot. And then I have some little curved lines for his toes. All right, now I need to decide how far back to draw his back, and then I need to put a guide dot to indicate where I need to draw the line to. And I'll put my guide dot there, and then I draw this line, just a slight curve right to that guide dot. And then I need to decide how far up this is going to come and what it's going to be even with. And so just gradually draw that up to where, almost to where that other line ends, like even with it. All right, now I need to decide about where to draw that curved line. And I see that the back legs are up higher than the front legs because they're farther back. So I drew a very light guideline to show myself where to draw the line to. And this is a curved line. And I'm carefully looking at it with, following it with my eyes as I draw it. And it curves back and it kind of goes down into a straight line, pretty much. And then curves over. And now I'm going to come around with this other curved line. That's his bottom. And bring that down along this other line. And then parallel. And that's kind of like a straight line. And then some lines for the toes. All right, now the next one is to draw this line. And so I think the best thing to do is to draw a guideline because that one is higher up than the other back foot. And then I'm going to draw this line here and draw it right down to the guideline. It's a straight line. And then this curved line starts right here. And I follow it down. And then curve outward. And add toes. And then the last thing is his tail. So we have basically a couple of curved lines that come together. Okay, now I'm going to start adding all those little short lines that showed the fur texture that I didn't put in before. And sometimes people think fur is harder to draw than it really is, but it can always be drawn by just drawing little lines a certain length and drawing them in certain directions depending on what part of the body those lines are on. So you can see how you can use the alphabet of shape method to draw a more complex, more realistic drawing that's a little bit more difficult than the cartoon. Now the students that drew these ones were 6th graders, and I never let my students trace. They just had to learn to observe and draw the lines, and they did a great job.